One time after I had been up for a few days, and the psychosis was setting in, I decided I needed some more meth and heroin, which at the time I was getting both from one guy. So I got a hold of the plug, and he said all was well and to head over, so I hopped on a bus and got over there. I got my gear and went and did a nice shot, heroin and meth mixed together, and holy shit, the psychosis went from 2200 quick. I got on the next bus, and for some reason the driver went about a block or two then just pulled over for some reason. In retrospect, the bus was maybe a bit ahead of schedule, and was waiting to be on time. But I swore the driver kept looking at me in the mirror, and then when he was on the phone I was sure the cops were coming for me. So I stood up, went to front of bus and said to let me out, which he did. Now I'm on the other side of the city from home with no ride. For some reason, every car that passed was undercover cops, some even in uniform, so I started running. After a few blocks, things changed though. Instead of cops, the people on the street were all after me, and I kept running across the same people no matter how far or fast I ran. That guy on the bike, the lady waiting for the bus, the students walking home from school the same fucking people, no matter where I ran to. As you can imagine, I was thirsty as hell and likely dehydrated to begin with. Honestly, I'm lucky I didn't stroke out or go heart attack or heat stroke. I picked up a used water bottle off the ground and begged the restaurant guy to fill it for me, which he did. Also, the entire time, I was hearing loud as fuck sirens, as if the police were right next to me, even though I saw none. I was starting to get scared about that gram of meth I had folded up in a dollar bill, so thought it would be really smart to hold it in my mouth. Now remember, I'm already way overamped, psychosis strong, and out of my gourd. Well, needless to say, that gram of meth I had been sprinting around within my mouth had completely melted at this point, and I kept getting higher and higher. No matter how far I ran I couldn't get away, and now hearing crazy noises loud as hell, that sounded like a chainsaw getting closer to me until I was almost deafened by it. But there was no apparent source for the sound though, just insanity. Now, after literally running about 4 miles through the city, I feel like I'm overheating, like so fucking hot. I somehow managed to call a friend from an Arab corner store, drenched, red-faced, twitching, basically overdosing, because at this point I had lost my phone. So my friend gets to the intersection I told them to go and appear to look at me and drive away. I was starting to wonder if ambulance was next best call, but after 5 to 10 minutes they came back, just confused about where I was and what was up. I had them stop for Gatorades and I pounded a few down, but kept feeling hotter, just about giving into the idea I was dying. So I went to their place, and made a cold water bath in tub with ice in it, and sat there till the water got warm, then refilled again with cold ice water, and after the second one started feeling a bit better. I took real ayahuasca once. It took 4 hours to kick in, and the whole time I could just feel this almost beast-like thing growing in the distance that gave me chills. I wasn't yet high at all, but I could feel something powerful like a hurricane coming from far away. All at once it slammed me like a god punching me in the face hard enough to throw me into another dimension. I was indoors at 11 p.m. and my friend's eyes floated out of his head, multiplied into 3 pairs and started revolving around him in a circle. The walls melted away and I could see the sun rising as if I was outside. The earth shook. I heard thunder and waves. Suddenly, I wasn't even on Earth anymore. I was falling through an endless hole in the 4th dimension where objects had angles so impossible I can't even remember them correctly. Everything went blue and I started seeing coral. A universe made of nothing but coral. There were ghostly whispers about my future and fire and darkness. Then it just faded away as if the storm had passed. I felt calm and at peace, but it was a 6-hour-long trip through things beyond my wildest imagination. I doubt even death would be as interesting. Me and my friends were high on mushrooms in Canada. We had a mirror that leant against the wall, the kind you'd buy at IKEA. One of us got lost in the reflection, can't remember who. Fast forward to 5 minutes later and 3 of us are carrying the mirror through the house to get snacks because we don't trust the people in the reflection not to destroy the house while we're gone. Spent 9 days awake on a meth-fueled bender. Around day 2 the hallucinations started, just audio at first. Hear someone call my name from an empty room, knocks on the walls, whispering at night. Day 4 and 5 I got a crawling feeling on my skin like bugs crawling all over me whenever I would sit still too long. The audio hallucinations amped up and the visual ones began. At first it was just peripheral vision. A shadow darting away and things like that. Around 1 week I was seeing entire silhouettes. I stopped going outside at this point and taped trash bags over all the windows to keep myself from seeing them. They were in the trees, bushes, at the edge of the shadows just exposed enough to be visibly separate from the shadows themselves. The voices were becoming very intense and I was losing touch with reality. On day 8 my ability to feel just broke. I could feel no emotion, no sadness, fear or joy. Nothing, just emptiness. Every sense felt flooded by the intensity of my hallucinations at this point and I was damn near catatonic. On day 9 the emptiness felt like a crippling weight on my soul. I started to question whether I was dead. That's all I remember from that day. My next memory isn't until a few weeks after that. I was told I slept for nearly 2 days when I passed out though. Pretty fucked up. I'm still fucked up to this day. That was 6 years ago. My best high ever was from poppy pod tea. I drank it in the morning and was still high the next afternoon when I visited my buddy in jail. About an hour after drinking it on a totally empty stomach it hit me hard when I was in a store, and I literally thought I was in a dream for a little bit. There's 80 plus alkaloids in opium, so some of them are kind of psychedelic in a good way and some of them are speedy. Add the morphine and codeine in there and it makes for a killer high. When you kick it though you detox from all 80 of those alkaloids though, and it's brutal. A few months after I started doing dope I slammed some really good stuff I got from this homeless dude, and this chick I was with had to keep holding my head up because I was nodding so hard my face kept almost falling into a bowl of soup I was trying to eat. Later on I tried to pack a bowl of weed and it took me literally over an hour to do it. There's a picture of me nodded out of my mind trying to do the simple task of putting an UG into a pipe. Me and my buddy were at the house of a guy we got shit from, let's call him Kevin. A bunch of the usuals were there hanging out, but there was a young black guy there that I'd never seen before. Kevin was a really tall and lanky dude, always seemed kind of goofy and harmless guy. Me and the friend I'm with are talking, me facing away from everyone when suddenly everything goes silent for a moment before I hear Kevin yelling and I turn around to see him holding a pistol to the young black guy's mouth. I don't mean just pointing. Motherfucker had a gun in the dude's mouth and the guy was crying and trying to apologize around the barrel. Once things calmed down a little me and my buddy got the fuck out of there. I was so sure I was about to witness a murder, for some reason it was way more terrifying than the times I've had a gun pointed at me. I never looked at Kevin the same way after that and I never really got a straight answer as to what the deal was. I tried DMT. The whole existing world disappeared in front of my eyes as my soul got ripped out of my body and went traveling from dimension to dimension to the point where I forgot what life was itself and forgot I had a mother and friends and a human body and thought I was dead and I was going to be in this majorly fucked dripping dimension forever and thought that's what death was. And then my friends told me I was sitting there wobbling back and forth with my eyes shut and tears streaming down. I couldn't talk for about 15-20 minutes and my life was changed afterwards. Never doing it again, but do not regret it. It was much more detailed than that, but if you have done it before you will understand that it is so hard to explain your experience and journey to others that did not see, hear, feel or go through like you did. Back in the 80s I was a teenager experimenting with herbal cigarettes. I laid on my waterbed and it made a funny noise. I started flopping around to keep making the noise for like 3 minutes straight. I guess my mother heard it and was standing in my doorway watching me thrash around and thought I was having a seizure. I stopped when I noticed her, but she rushed in and started mothering me. She never believed that I was just messing around and kept a wary eye on me for weeks.